game of numbers. It's a whole waiting period. The numbers are trickling, the numbers are coming. Tom, let me start with you. From what you've seen, put the whole question of perspective, the numbers perspective.
Well, James, you put me on the spot because I can't make much sense of these numbers, except to say, maybe to start off, in my last article for The Elephant, looking at polls in the election, that was my 5th piece that was uploaded, I think, on Monday morning. I said, based on the recent surveys, the most recent ones that were conducted before the election, including ours at TIFAS, I didn't see the possibility of a runoff contest unless the combined totals of the other two candidates was above 2%.
Right.
But these figures that the Nation portal is giving us just now, where the two main candidates are at 49, between 49 and 50, neither one of us is at 50. So if these were the final numbers, there would be a forced runoff between them, because even the combination of Professor Wajakoya and Ndimrwaiga being less than 1%, it's enough to block either of these guys from getting there. So maybe that kind of scenario I painted was incorrect, thinking it had to be 2% before we could have a runoff. So that's one self-correction I'm glad you've allowed me to make. But of course, we have no idea, with only about half of all the 34 A's having been tallied, at least by you people.
So I think that's about 7 million. So perhaps maybe another 7 million to go. So
no, this is now showing about 8,200,000 in total.
So just above half. But just on the question of so to kick off and finish up the question of a runoff. In essence, the whole idea before this and all the polls showed that supposing either Wajakoya and Wahiga managed to take something away from both candidates, then that is sort of like the factor on what a runoff would, But if it's too tight in this sense, that, both candidates, it's very separating them, so they could essentially force a runoff by themselves.
Is possible, and then, however unlikely that is, if we've only got about 55, 56% of the votes in, at least on your portal, and I think you were ahead of the other two networks in terms of the total votes, last time I looked a couple hours ago. It does raise the question as, okay, there's going to be a runoff. Wajakoya has got about twice as many votes as Wahiga Maure, 44.44 rather than 0.23. Is there going to be a competition between the two main candidates to woo him over, to bring some more support in the 30 days before that runoff contest? Or will they just fight it out on their own? And then getting back to some of the things that we were discussing yesterday when you were over at Bowman's, if the turnout in this election is so much lower than the last two, goodness knows how low the turnout would be in a runoff. Maybe 15 people would bother to vote. I mean, that's, of course, I'm being facetious, but how low could it go? Would it be, as Dr. Collins was saying last night, typical by-election turnout? You're a professor, I understand. For monitoring and valuation, I think you said, is usually about 40% in a by-election. Okay, those are parliamentary. Since we've never had a presidential runoff,
we don't know.
We have no idea, but it certainly is not going to be as much as it was this 56 or 6, what is it, 65% they're projecting?
64%, I think
it's going to be lower.
65%.
And they're mobilizing your supporters means everything. But
right, let me bring
we probably won't go there. So.
Isabella, I wanted to ask you, from your assessment, is it too soon to say whether we could enter into a runoff? What's your assessment of the results so far?
Well, thank you. Thank you for that question, because you notice that elections are at the heart of every democracy. And in essence, then, it's the primary process in which every electorate gets to sort of, experience their human rights or practice their human rights in terms of voting. And just by saying that, then, it brings me to your question, and we are looking at a situation where we may have a runoff. That is the question. However, at the back of our minds, we are keen on looking at the issues of human rights that may arise in the event that we have a runoff. In terms of numbers, we had a scenario building session, and we had 3 scenarios. At the moment, we would say that we are not seeing, a situation where we'll have a runoff, but our business is now rooted in what then would happen, or what then that means in terms of enjoying human rights for these particular people who are very vested in who takes, the lead, or who is then declared a winner in these particular elections.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we've just got to take a breather from this conversation for a moment and cross over live to Nandi, where NTV's Ibrahim Karanja is. I believe there, Ibrahim, that members of parliament in 3 constituencies have been announced out of 6 constituencies. What else can you tell us?
Well, Smith, indeed it is true that we are in Nandi County, and it appears from what we are going through here is that I will be making my journey back to Nairobi very soon, because Nandi County is one of those counties that are quickly announcing the results from the general election that were held yesterday. As we speak, we already have results from 3 constituencies, and any minute from now, we expect the result from the 4th constituency here in Nandi County, and that is Mgwen constituency. And Smriti, what we need to know about Nandi constituency, or Nandi County rather, is that so far, if the 4th constituency that we are waiting for goes as it appears right now, then Nandi will be having new members of parliament, aside from the member of parliament of Tinderet constituency who's just been re-elected, that is Julius Meli. But all the other constituencies whose results we have received so far, very new members of parliament. Earlier on, we received results from Nandi Hills constituency, the incumbent Alfred Keter having lost to Bernard Kitur of UDA. That is the first new member of parliament in Nandi County. Then we, like I said, received results from Aldai constituency. Also, it will be having a new member of parliament in Marian Keitani, who actually vied under the UDA party ticket and garnered a total of 42,015 votes, and beating the incumbent Corneli Serem, who came in second, a distant second, with 13,309. That is the second new member of parliament in Nandi County. Tinderet constituency, like I said, and this is one of the oldest constituencies in Nandi County, having been formed in the year 1966, in the very first elective politics in the country, is the only constituency that will be has re-elected its member of parliament, that being Julius Meli of the UDA party, who garnered 38,715 votes, beating Malakwen Samuel of the PDU, who garnered 2,000. Smriti, that is quite a huge difference. 38,000, while the second person who, because this was a 2-horse race, garnered 2,275. And right now, like I've said, I am in Mgwen constituency. This is the 4th constituency whose result we are waiting for, and any minute from now, because I am at the constituency tallying center, this is the St. Peter's Catholic Church in Kapsabet town, we expect the newest member of parliament, or the member of parliament elect for Mgwen constituency, to be announced. And the reason why Mgwen constituency will have a new member of parliament in this particular session of parliament that is coming is because the incumbent, Alex Kosgei, did not vie as a member of parliament, as a member of the National Assembly. Actually, Alex Kosgei wanted to be senator for Nandi County, but he did not go through the UDA nominations. In the UDA nominations, he lost to current Senator Samson Cherargei. So that proves why Mgwen constituency will have a completely new member of parliament, because even the people who are contesting are completely new in that particular seat. And I'll quickly mention the people who are contesting in Mgwen constituency. There is Alphas Kiprotich, who is an independent candidate. There is Tekla Tum, who is the current Nandi woman representative, who is vying to be MP in Mgwen constituency. Then there is Samuel Kimutai Rotich Yator, an independent candidate. And then there is UDA's Joses Kipto Kosgei Lelmengit, who is the one currently leading the race, with all the 153 out of 153 polling stations having reported. What we are waiting for actually is just the formal announcement from Veronica Lepokole, who is the constituency returning officer. But from the 153 out of 153 polling stations, it appears the member of parliament elect for Mgwen constituency, only awaiting declaration by the IEBC, is Joses Kipto Kosgei Lelmengit of the UDA.